What's up, everybody? One Man Smoke back at you. It's been a while, a few months. No excuses really. Just been busy and lazy. Up here at TrimbleTobacco today, Bedford, Kentucky. Young tobacco farmers. Surveying some rain damage on some of the tobacco out here, and doing some spraying for suckers. Sitting out here in the shade right now, smoking my OMS Dublin and some Bold Kentucky Mac Baron. Show you a little bit of this tobacco. Going to be going out with Brian today. Notified me last night that he'd be out here spraying, so said if you want to come on out, come on out. So it's been a few months. Was planning on doing more updates out here, but just scheduling and weather. The weather's been not cooperative this year, and Brian's been busy, so coordinating our schedules is somewhat difficult sometimes, so I don't get to get up here all the time. But I'm here now, so it's beautiful. Beautiful out here. Always enjoy coming out here and relaxing, having a smoke, hanging out with some good folks. A lot of history here, American history. Something about it you don't get everywhere these days. I think most people been around as long as I have, you can kind of relate to that and know what I'm talking about regarding that part of American culture. That's why I started coming out here, and shoot, it's been almost 10 years now. Somewhere around 9 years I've been coming out here. But I figured, hell, I can't find anywhere that this is documented, so I started doing it myself, and here I am doing it still 10 years later, so I enjoy it, and I'll keep doing it. So the OMS Dublin. Got the new version out. It's got the laser etching here. It's really nice. It's a nice touch to it. A nice high gloss finish on them. So if you're looking for a good smoking pipe, blue collar pipe for a reasonable price, OMSpipes.com. Check me out. Sipping on some OMS house coffee. Some house blend, roasted here locally. And my pipe keeps going out. Pretty overcast day today. Pretty overcast day today. Pretty cloudy. It's not too hot and humid. It's getting there though. Beautiful day out here. Got the mother-in-law in. She just came in from Turkey. Be here for 3 months, so that's good. She brought me some honey. You might have seen that on my IG or my Facebook. Little village Bursa, Turkey. Brought some honey, big old plate of it out of the beehive. I think probably weighs about 15 pounds, something like that. A lot of honey. It's great stuff. It's awesome. So enjoy that. She brings me cheeses and dry cured meat from there. You can't get anywhere else. It's really nice. Tell you what, this Bowl Kentucky, some good stuff right here. My camera stand. That's what I prop my camera up with, at least today anyway. So I hope everybody's been doing good in my absence. I know you guys, a lot of you guys just ain't looking for my videos. I'm not very consistent or persistent these days. A lot going on, life, personal stuff, family stuff. You know, everybody's struggling, and me included. So, just trying to hang in there, fight the good fight, and stay away from all the negativity in the world. Just try to stay positive and keep it moving, you know, in a positive direction. That right there, that's all Burley. Burley behind me, Burley to the left of me, Burley in front of me, and we got a barn here. I'll take you in there for a quick. Well, I guess that's eBay. Anyway, I ain't gonna hang on here too long. I'll show you a tour of the barn here in the video coming up. I'll show you us spraying and mixing and stuff like that. So try to get back on here more often. Start trying to get back into a habit of doing videos again. And do more updates. Might come back out here next week. We'll see what happens. Probably going to be harvesting some tobacco next week sometime, and then maybe hanging it. Depends on the weather. So we're probably a week or two. Probably by the time I get this video edited, hopefully I'll get it done over the weekend. What's today? I think the 19th, Friday. The 19th or the 20th. So what day is it? Okay, yeah, the 19th. So hopefully I'll get this video edited and up. And I would say probably by maybe next weekend we might be hanging tobacco in the barn. So hopefully come up here and be up here for that. Going to be working on some new pipeline. Come out with a couple different models, and hopefully have them out by the end of the year if everything goes right. So and then, like I said, I got all my the latest pipes coming up. the billiard and the OMS Dublin. This one here, the OG. This will have laser engraving. Matter of fact, I'll grab one real quick. Alrighty, back. All right, so here's the difference. One's got this is the new one. It's still the same dimensions. The finish is a little different. This one's buffed to a high gloss finish, dark stain, and laser etched shank. It's come out really nice. Put a nice touch on these OMS Dublins. And the other difference is the bottoms. Got a natural brown stain on the bottom now, and the stamp is also a little different on the 2016 model. This is the 2015 on this side, so a little bit of difference. I think the billiard's the same way, and so I'm happy with the way that these new ones turned out. So offered in brass and silver. Straight stem or with a slight bend. Alright everybody, I'm out. Peace and sweet smokes. What you got here, old John Deere?
This is a high boy.
High boy.
Got about 5 feet of clearance for the tobacco to pass underneath the machine. This machine was made in the 60s. Has a small 3-cylinder gasoline powered engine. Has a stainless steel tank, holds 200 gallons. That's where we mix up the water and the chemicals. There's a pump down in front, belt driven off the engine. Sends pressure to these 2 control valves up here on the deck. And that allows me to turn on either the right boom or the left boom. When the fluid goes through the black rubber hose back there, it comes out the tips. We use a special tip for this application because we want a lot of volume and a large droplet size. We want to try to make that stuff run down the stalk and contact the sucker buds, which is what we're trying to kill.
And the sucker buds, where are those at exactly?
Every leaf, where every leaf meets the stalk, there's a little sucker bud, and the main flower of the plant keeps those in check. But when we break out the main flower, those will grow rapidly and uncontrollably, especially in this wet environment. So we spray a growth retardant so that those sucker buds don't grow anymore. We want the leaf to get larger and thicker. That's what we make as leaf. You think you can get up here?
I reckon.
Well, there's a step on the back of the fender. You'll want to step on that step.
Oh, here we are.
And you'll want to find yourself a handhold.
Uh-huh.
And then there's another step on top of the fender, and then you'll come in right here. I'll demonstrate. So I'm going to put my left foot on the step, grab a handhold, and put my right foot on the tire. Just climb this thing right here. A few plants that are starting to bloom, but we've had some bad weather and it's caused a lot of the plants to be crooked, or some of them are even flat on the ground. So the crew is topping this field, and I'll either spray it this evening or tomorrow morning. Don't like to spray where they're working, but I like to be close behind them. And last night they were topping over here, finishing up, and I sprayed the majority of this field, and then I got as close as I wanted to where they were at, put this thing in the barn, and let them finish up. Now this field's been topped. You'll see that all the flowers have been removed. Some of those smaller leaves at the top of the plant have been broken out. We just throw that top on the ground. What we're doing is we're deciding which leaves we're going to keep and which leaves we're not going to keep.
This KT209 here, or?
This is Rickard's 4488.
Oh, okay.
KT209's at my house. I'm going to back up. It's a little bit challenging. The rows are all muddled together now.
Yeah.
Because the plants are crooked. We got a lot of rain, and then we had a little bit of wind, and this is a shallow-rooted crop this season because when we transplanted, we got a pretty healthy rain, and we've had regular rainfall ever since. So that plant never had to put down deep roots to look for water. It had water right there at the surface. So none of these plants have very deep roots, and that's why they're easy to blow over. And you'll see there's spots out here in this swag where it's flat on the ground. And that's not good.
Yeah.
But I need to get six rows on this side of the machine. So there's a pair, and there's a pair. So I need to drive right there. And this machine's got special fenders to help lift the plants up and out of the way. Will go absolutely nuts if we don't control them.
All right, let's go. Let's get the...
You could see it happening a little more on this. This plant has at least one open flower. And as a result, this flower has lost its dominance over the sucker buds. And you see how they're growing? And the sucker buds are getting bigger. When we come in here and top this, if we don't do something about these suckers, they will turn into extra flowers. And we're not in the flower business, we're in the leaf business. When we top this plant, it will be imperative that we physically remove any suckers that are longer than 1 inch. And then that we spray that concoction on this plant within 24 hours. My ideal circumstance is when the guys top a field, I spray it the next morning. We've been having some challenges with that though, with rainfall every other day. So they're topping a field right now. I may actually spray it this evening. There's plants in this field that are in all different stages of bloom. Like this guy here, he's not even close to blooming. So you see how the sucker buds are little tiny things? And then you got this guy here who's got some flowers that are popping open. So he's already lost dominance. So this sucker and this sucker and this sucker are starting to grow. So when I top this plant, I'll need to rub those out. Just pull them off. And then spray this dude, and that spray will burn that off. That chemical will contact that. It'll hit this leaf and it'll run down just like a funnel. And contact that sucker right there, and that'll be the end of him. The issue we have though is this guy here's, you know, belt buckle high. Another option is to come in here and just top what has flowered. But then you'll not be able to spray because the spray will stunt this guy. So if we top this guy today, and don't spray, this plant's going to be loaded with suckers when we top this guy. So sometimes we make 2 toppings. We like to do it in one topping.
Remarkably smooth.
I thought I would put new points and plugs in it this season. Then we took it to a local muffler shop. The muffler was gone, and the original muffler was no longer available, and an aftermarket muffler specific to this machine was over $300.
See, they had to modify it.
We bought a $39 muffler and made it work.
Don't put your tongue on that one. Good old John Deere.
3-cylinder. This same engine was used in some of their smaller tractors at that time. Then under this shield is where the pump is. It's got all these shields to try to avoid damaging the crop. Now, of course, when the crop's down and tangled like it is now, you're still going to do a little damage.
Yeah.
But I felt like we slipped through there pretty sleek. John Deere made the 600A, and they also made a 700, and the 700 had larger wheels in the back and the front, and that gave it more clearance up over the crop. And some tobacco farmers use the 700, which is even taller.
Well, your crop's pretty tall right now as it is. I mean, it's really taken off. Blue barn. Stripping room. This is all the professional farming equipment right here for the next generation. Massey Ferguson, DL280, Beamer. And don't forget, Pride in Tobacco. Thank you, sir. Water. It's a beautiful thing.
Company we sell with tests our bales for residues of this chemical. So we are cautioned against using an excessive rate. So the first step to doing that is to use the correct nozzle. These are called a TG5. If you look online at a place like Agri Supply, you'll see TG3s, TG5s, even TG8s. That TG5 is a full cone, meaning the spray pattern is shaped like a cone and it's not hollow in the middle. It's complete. They produce a larger droplet. The other thing that I'm doing, I got a pressure regulator up there by my valve stack, and I've got it set on 20 PSI. So this thing is like spitting, so that chemical contacts that leaf and runs to the axial, which is where that little sucker bud is. Now this first chemical that I'm adding This is called malic hydrazade. This chemical came on the market in the 1960s. And this is the staple for sucker control in both burley and dark tobaccos. Dark tobaccos don't use this chemical as much as burley does, but it tells you in the instructions on here to use 1 gallon per acre. And so the next step is we got to figure out, okay, if this sprayer's full of 200 gallons of water, how many acres does it spray? Well, every season when we get this machine out of storage, it's clean, it has no chemicals in it. We put nothing but pure water in it, and we've actually marked off the road out here. So we'll actually spray the road to figure out how many gallons we're using over an acre. And this thing's running right at 40 gallons per acre. So we're using 40 gallons per acre at 20 psi. And the speed of the machine also has an impact on that. And my speed regulation is very simple. I'm putting it in first gear and going wide open. So I'm running first gear wide open, 40 gallons to the acre. So we're going to make a 5 acre batch. And I'm going to put an extra gallon of this stuff in here. So instead of 1 gallon per acre, we're going to be at like 1.2. In the past, we've used as much as 2 gallons per acre, but 2 gallons per acre resulted in excessive residues. So we like to use just 1 gallon, but with all this moisture in the ground and these plants growing so vigorously, I'm going to go ahead and put 6 gallons on 5 acres.
So how much is this costing y'all a case, a gallon
Each
or
one
an
of
acre?
these jugs represents about $14.
Add that up to how many acres?
Well, we took delivery of 42 of these, and I have one field. I sprayed it at 9 o'clock, and at 11:30 it rained. The label on this chemical also tells us that it needs to be on for 6 hours before rain. So later that week, the suckers started to develop. 1 week later, the guys had to go out there and spend all day pulling them suckers out by hand. And then we sprayed it again. So I'm going to have to order some more chemical because I've sprayed one field twice, so I'm going to run short. And also, I counted on using 1 gallon per acre, but after I got out there and saw what we had, I decided to up that a little bit. So I'm going to have to place another order for just a little bit more of this stuff so that we'll have enough to finish. Bear in mind though, we're topping about 16 acres up there yesterday, today, and tomorrow. And then it's going to be maybe another week before we top another batch. This product is systemic. Many of you homeowners have probably sprayed some weeds in your driveway or around your home with some Roundup. And you spray it on the leaf and the plant absorbs it and it kills the root. You've seen the TV ad. This chemical works similarly on suckers. So this chemical goes in through the pores of the plant, and that's why it's important that we spray in the morning. And this label actually tells you that spray in the morning or all day on cloudy days. Because when you got full sunshine, the stomata, or the pores of that plant, they close. In full sun, they close to conserve moisture. Well, if it's overcast or cloudy, they may still be open and receptive to absorption of this chemical. And that was one of the problems in the past. We used to spray 2 gallons, but we were spraying it after supper, 5, 6 o'clock in the evening. Well, the stomates are closed. So we're putting on an excessive amount of chemical, not getting good control, and having high residue. But if we use the correct rate, the correct nozzle, the correct pressure, and spray at the correct time of day, we get good results with less chemical, which saves us money. And the reason for the issue with the residues is most of our tobacco is export. And some of the places that our tobacco goes have very stringent regulations on how much residue they'll accept. So it's very important that we keep our residues low so that the company we sell to can sell it to other places. I'm triple rinsing all these jugs to get all the chemical out of them. so that when they go downstream to a landfill or a recycling program, they won't have any residue left in them. I have to work quickly to get all these jugs rinsed out before the tank gets full, because I don't want to go dumping this stuff in the driveway. So if I can rinse out all the jugs and pour the rinsate directly in the spray tank, it ends up where it needs to be, and that's on that tobacco up there. I'll be putting in next.
What are these here?
Drexelin is a local systemic. Some people even refer to it as a contact. I already mentioned the fact that this sucker stuff that I'm putting in now needs to be sprayed on the leaf, and the plant needs to absorb it in through the leaf in order to mimic the hormones that were produced by the flower. See, the flower produces a hormone that tells all these little buds, stand down. When we break the flower out, he's no longer there. So all the buds are like, yay, and they all take off. Well, this hormone mimics the hormone that the plant produces naturally. This other product, it needs to contact the sucker buds. And I already alluded to the fact that we're running a TG5 nozzle, and we're trying to get this product to run down the stalk. This product needs to contact the sucker buds and not the leaf. So we're attacking the suckers from two different directions, with the systemic and with the contact. And this is what gives that solution that yellow look.
I mean, that's probably that tar smell and stuff.
Yeah, it's got a much stronger odor than the MH. And the company that makes
petroleum.
this puts it in these convenient 2.5 acre jugs, and I just so happen to be making a 5 acre batch, so that's pretty simple math.
Is that a petroleum-based product?
It is, and we had trouble with these O-rings on the filter. There's a mesh screen in here to catch any contaminants, to keep them from plugging my nozzles.
It's killing the O-rings?
We had trouble last night because the O-ring got swollen and it wouldn't seal. From the oil. Now down in western Kentucky, where they raise a lot of dark tobacco, they use this stuff by itself.
Some of that flue cured?
Fire cured.
Fire cured?
Fire cured tobacco is real short, real dark green. When they break the top out of it, they come back with a machine like this, but it has a rubber hose coming down to a hand applicator. And you'll have a team of people follow this machine as it travels through the field at a snail's pace, and they will individually treat each plant with this product and let it run down the stalk. They don't want the MH on the leaf because it causes the leaf to turn a bronze color. You notice how our burley is almost yellow when we cut it? Well, they don't want that in the dark tobacco. They want it to keep its original color, so when it cures out, it'll be that nice dark chocolate color. A little bit different cultural practice for dark tobacco. They raise their plants in the greenhouse like we do. They set it with a transplanter like we do, but they put more space between the plants. So they have a smaller population and the plants get a little bigger. And the leaves spread out a little more. And then, like I said, when they do their topping, they have drop lines coming off of a highboy. And so they'll have one person drive the highboy, and they'll have multiple people follow the highboy with the drop lines, and they'll individually treat each plant and get that Drexelin to run down the stalk. They use Drexelin, or there's some other products, other brand names, but it's the same basic idea. It's a contact. It needs to run down the stalk, contact those sucker buds. And in the past, we have topped tobacco and ran into a situation where it rained for several days and we were unable to spray. and that almost always results in a bad sucker problem. And the problem with the sucker problem is that's taking your yield. You're spending all your fertilizer and all your sunlight and all your water to grow suckers that you can't pack in a bale and sell. So we don't want suckers, we want leaf. The other problem it presents, when we hang that tobacco in the barn, if it's got a whole bunch of them sucker buds on it, the air doesn't circulate properly around the leaves, you know, because that sucker's sandwiched in between the leaf and the stem, it causes rot. So it's a serious quality concern for us too. So it hurts our yield and hurts our quality. It costs us in two different directions. So that's why suckers are such an issue.
Plus the nutrients going to the leaf that you can use, it's diluted.
It's going to the suckers.
So there's...
That plant is pre-programmed to reproduce. It wants to make seed. Well, without any flowers, it can't make seed. So that's what the suckers are. That's the plant's response to, hey, where'd my flower go? We need to make some seed. And if we were in the seed tobacco business, that'd be different, but we're not. We leave that to people like Rickards and Workmans and Clays and Newtons.
So we're in Bedford, Kentucky. How long's tobacco been grown up here in this area? Kentucky in general, history, any idea?
I'm gonna guess that the first tobacco was grown soon after the first settlers got here, but not necessarily as a commercial venture, but just for personal use. But very soon thereafter, the settlers to this area discovered that they could grow tobacco here and that it was a high enough value commodity that it could be transported over long distances profitably. What I mean by that is if you grow corn and corn isn't worth very much and then you try to ship it down the Ohio River and down the Mississippi River to New Orleans, it's not going to have any value by the time it gets there. The shipping cost is going to eat up any value the product has. But with the tobacco, they could pack that into hogsheads, which were big wooden barrels, and get those to markets and make a healthy profit, and every person in the supply chain made a profit off of it. Tobacco really boomed in Kentucky post-Civil War, and the growers soon found themselves in a situation where one company had a monopoly and they were under the gun. They were struggling to get a good price for the product because there was a monopoly against them, and that's when the government stepped in and put in place a program whereby every farm had an allotment or a quota, and in return for the quota they would guarantee a certain price. But the stipulation was you couldn't overproduce for your quota, and then the companies were required to submit their intentions to the government. So basically the government got involved and put in place a system of checks and balances so that supply and demand would meet a little bit higher on the curve and keep the price up for the farmers. Well, that program came to an end in 2004. have to be careful not to step on either one of these tees because they'll break.
Yes, sir, boss.
You can step anywhere here. Anywhere.
I'll let you get the camera. It's live.
That's how we do that.
Just like that.
Don't think we'll be needing this anymore this year.
Yeah. It's a oldie but goodie, huh?
After the tobacco's transplanted in the field, we use this and that one. And
Cultivator.
That row of tobacco goes through here, so that tobacco has to be shorter than this toolbar. But yes, we cultivate basically in between the rows of the field to control weeds, loosen the soil.
Air conditioning.
It's got air conditioning on it.
Awesome. Brand new tires.
1952 Farmall Super C.
Love it.
This is a late model 140. I'm going to guess it's a 77. This is a one row machine.
This one here, you got to be careful how you drive this one, because otherwise you might be it's a little, what would you call it? It's not top heavy, but.
Farmall called this Cultivision, so the driver basically looked right through the steering wheel at the row crop. And if you get the heavy side of the tractor down the hill, you can tip over. I remember when I was a kid, I was cultivating on the John Deere, and my grandfather had one very similar to this, and he got stuck. Well, the wheel that was on the heavy side was the one that sunk down in the mud, and we almost turned it over before we got it out. We were able to throw a chain around this bumper up here, and I pulled him out. And I was unable to get any video of the John Deere pulling the International out. I'm sure folks would have loved it. I think I'm going to leave these doors open. We've got a 6-man crew out there, so every time they go to the far end and come back, they've topped 12 rows. Well, the sprayer sprays 12 rows. So maybe after they get half the field done, I'll spray a couple dozen. Or I'll go do something else and spray it later today, so they don't have to breathe that stuff.